Marijuana, the number one most abused illegal drug in society today, can be observed in U.S. culture throughout the last 100 years. Many would probably take into question, how is it that marijuana is the number one most abused illegal drug in the United States? Well, according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse's website, in 2008, 25.8 million Americans ages 12 and older had abused marijuana at least once in the prior year to being surveyed. Even though many were in support of marijuana throughout its history in the United States, one must observe the opposition towards marijuana to understand the bigger picture. According to the Grass documentary, which was observed in class, marijuana was seriously frowned upon beginning in the early 20th century. Bills such as the El Paso Ordinance of 1914 was used to ban marijuana. Many other bills came later on. Even though anti-marijuana campaigns were effective from the early 1900s, there was no basis for the information that was gathered. No research was conducted to actually show the effects of the drug. They were mainly just rumors. According to Benocrates, a rumor is unfounded information that is spread quickly. During the 1930s, as observed in the Grass documentary, there was much hatred towards the popular illicit drug. During that particular time period, many people felt as though marijuana is the worst thing possible, that it made people insane and would lead to violent crime. Through the popular culture, the masses who opposed marijuana used this as a way to combat the use of pot. For instance, propaganda slogans were made such as, "If you smoke it, you will kill people." Movies were also made such as the popular Reefer Madness movie, which shows that people who smoke become insane. The definition of popular culture is as follows. According to Benocrates, popular culture, which was mentioned earlier, are the beliefs, practices, activities, and products that are widely shared among a population in everyday life. Marijuana can be seen all throughout the popular culture because, according to Benocrates in the sociology textbook, popular culture includes television, music, and magazines, all of which are a part of the weed culture, considering that magazines such as High Times magazines, television such as That 70s Show, and music done by such artists as the Notorious B.I.G. or Wiz Khalifa are used all to promote the use of marijuana. The marijuana culture is still holding strong today with such artists as Wiz Khalifa, who was mentioned earlier. Wiz uses the popular media, which in this case is music. Many other artists such as Lil Boosie and Snoop Dogg support references to smoking pot in their music as well. Not only has cannabis been seeping into the media for quite some time now, but it has also become part of the material culture. According to Benocrates, material culture consists of the tangible objects that members of society make, use, and share. This can clearly be seen in this picture of silly bands. One is in the shape of an actual marijuana leaf, and the other is in the shape of a bong, a device that is used to consume the drug. Marijuana in material culture can also be seen in clothing and other miscellaneous items such as ashtrays and necklaces. The marijuana culture seemed to have been the most prevalent during the late 60s and 70s. Another artist who supported marijuana and was very popular in the music industry was Jimi Hendrix. Many people during this time were stereotyped because if they had long hair and wore interesting clothing, such as Jimi Hendrix, then they were considered pot-smoking hippies. Now, not everyone in the 1960s and 70s were pot-smoking hippies. That was just not the real culture. According to Benocrates, real culture is the actual everyday behavior of people in society. It just comes off as a stereotype that everyone in the U.S. at that time smoked. According to Benocrates, a stereotype is an oversimplified or exaggerated generalization about a category of people. That's exactly what people thought of at the time, and even today. That if someone had long hair and wore colorful clothing, that they were automatically a pot-smoking hippie, which we all know is not true. As discussed earlier, the marijuana debate can definitely be seen in two ways. This can also be seen in the ways that people should be punished because of marijuana. Obviously, in our society, members tend to think that marijuana is either bad or good. People tend to reflect on this based on norms that are placed in society. According to Benocrates, norms are a society's specific rules concerning right and wrong behavior. People who oppose marijuana would say that consuming it is a wrong behavior, considering that it is illegal. Others might think that consuming marijuana is actually a folk way. And according to Benocratus, folkways are norms that members of society or a group within a society look upon as not being critical and that may be broken without severe punishment. Groups such as Normal would agree that smoking should be indeed a folkway. Even in politics and government, marijuana is a two-sided topic. Government, as Benocratus defines it as in the sociology textbook on chapter 11, is a formal organization that has the authority to make and enforce laws. Now, politics, according to Benocratus, is a social process through which individuals and groups acquire and exercise power and authority. One of the major pro-marijuana groups, NORML, which stands for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, states in their About NORML section on their website that today, NORML continues to lead the fight to reform state and federal marijuana laws, whether by voter initiative or through the elected legislatures. NORML serves as an informational source to the national media on marijuana-related stories, providing a perspective to offset the anti-marijuana propaganda from the government. On the pro-marijuana side of politics, not only are there groups such as NORML, but there are also subjects such as Prop 19. According to the website yeson19.com/about, Proposition 19 was carefully written in order to control cannabis like alcohol, allowing adults 21 and over in California to possess up to 1 ounce of cannabis to be consumed at home or licensed establishments. Also, Prop 19 aimed to give state and local governments the ability to tax the sale of cannabis for adult consumption. Even though all of that seemed promising, Prop 19 was not passed in the state of California. Even though Prop 19 was not passed in California, there are still several states that have decriminalized marijuana. According to the NORML website, there have been several states that have decriminalized, all of which are shown in the image presented. Since many positive things have been stated about marijuana in politics, it is time to move on to the negatives. During the past 100 years that marijuana has been in the U.S., there have been 2 presidents that have become highly involved in stopping the relatively harmless drug: Richard M. Nixon and Ronald Reagan. President Richard M. Nixon was one of the presidents that was deeply entrenched in stopping the drug culture. One of the tactics he used was a plan called Operation Intercept. In this case, according to the Grass documentary, which was observed in class, 2,000 custom agents were deployed along the Mexican border. Their objective was to discontinue the flow of marijuana. After 3 weeks, Operation Intercept was abandoned. Despite this, under the Nixon administration, the Drug Enforcement Agency was created, which in fact was more successful. Ronald Reagan is the other president that was bent on stopping the marijuana flow by using campaigns such as the Just Say No campaign, as well as the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986, which was one of the more prominent anti-drug acts of that time. Not only this, but the war on drugs from the beginning of the Reagan administration to 1998 cost the U.S. government $214.7 billion. The last subject that will be discussed in this presentation is unfortunately one that is extremely negative, and that is crime. According to Benocratus, from the sociology textbook on Chapter 7, crime is a violation of societal norms and rules for which punishment is specified by public law. Now, public law varies depending on the type of state you're in. For example, North Carolina is one of the states that has decriminalized marijuana. However, if one were to be caught by, for example, Elon University's campus security, then they would surely be in deeper trouble considering that they are on campus grounds. According to Benocratus, smoking is actually a formal deviance, and a formal deviance is a behavior that violates law, aka a crime. In conclusion, no matter how you feel about marijuana, it is all around us. As explained in this presentation, marijuana can be seen all throughout our culture, both in popular and material. It can be seen in our politics, both negatively and positively, and it can unfortunately be seen in crime. Thank you for watching my presentation on marijuana and how it affects us in society today.